Hello, everybody. Welcome to Geeks Unleashed. My name is Maude. I'm Chief Bomb of Geek Bomb. Every single week we like to get an uber nerdy geek on so that we can talk all about them, what they're up to, what they're about, and what makes them nerdalicious. The Geek Bomb panelists joining this particular edition of Geeks Unleashed, we've got from the very next room in my apartment, Alicia Malone.
Hello. I feel like I'm so far away from you, Morty. Come back.
I had to shut the door so I couldn't hear. Hey, nice shirt, by the way, Alicia. Did you just want to show it off, maybe?
Oh, yes. This is a new Geek Bomb shirt. You can see it is Batman inspired, but you've got a bomb instead of the bat signal, and that is for sale, as is yours, Morty.
That's right. I thought you'd never ask me to show my tits in the screen.
Show us your tits.
Get them out.
Geek Bomb. That's right, guys. As you can see, I'll stop actually and show you what this is all happening here. You can see that it is Batman flashing and not me. So this Geek Bomb t-shirt is also available on store.geekbomb.net if you would like your own. Now that we've plugged the shit out of Geek Bomb, we'll continue things with Tegan coming all the way from Wollongong, which is actually a place in Australia.
No, I made it up. I don't have a Geek Bomb shirt on because I'm a really bad person, but I do have a Miskatonic University one, but I'm sorry, guys. I dropped the ball.
I'll pay that one. And this Geeks Unleashed is all about this man right here. His name is Jon Schnepp. He is an animator, director, writer, producer, host extraordinaire. Did I miss out on any of that?
I think you got
Jon Schnepp! Alrighty, so the way we kind of like to initiate our panel together, it's like a little bit of a bonding session. We're going to do one random question. So I'll kick it off and I'll randomly throw it to someone else on the panel. I have no idea what I'm going to ask, but it's going to be within the geeky realm, and that person has to answer whatever comes into their head. Don't think, just say. And then that person will pass on another question and so on and so forth. So I'm going to kick things off. Alicia!
What?
Your question is, what game do you hear over and over again that you think you should know about, but you still know absolute fuck all?
So many. I get really confused by Call of Duty and all that jazz, but I would say, because I live with you, Morty, Elder Scrolls. What's all that about? I don't know, but I know that you spend hours playing it. So that's all I know. All right, is it my random question?
You betcha.
Okay, I'm going to throw it to Tegan.
Yes.
Tegan, if you could see any female superhero get her own film, who would you choose?
Oh, who would I choose? You know what? I have to go with Supergirl just because I just want to see how that would play out, and just yeah, I'd like to see mostly like the troll comments that would maybe come out of that, just because interesting discussion.
She's not super.
Yeah,
she's just a girl.
Yeah, so that's what I would like. Okay, I'm gonna go to you, Maude.
Yo.
What movie that everyone seems to love do you hate? Do you have one that everyone's like, oh no, you gotta love, and you secretly hate it?
Oh, Alicia, you might have to help me with this. You know better than I do.
There are many that you refuse to see, but yeah.
That'll do.
Is it one that I was just like...
Under the Skin is one I remember from
recent
there
times. You go. Yeah, Under the Skin starring Scarlett Johansson as an alien. I had my safety bubble burst on me, and I sat in the car after I watched it, and I cried. I felt empty. I felt like that happiness had been sucked out of the universe.
It's a sad ending. Spoilers.
Yeah.
They're real sad.
Really sad.
Especially if you're an alien.
Yes.
Kind of a bummer.
It's just, yeah. All right, Schnepp, you're up. This is your question.
Okay. I will ask Alicia, what is the guilty movie that everyone else has seen that's like, it's like instead of everyone's top 10, it's like the masterpiece that everyone always talks about, but you haven't seen it. What is it?
Oh, that's a good one, because I've seen so many. But all I can think of, I don't even know if this would make people's top 10. Oh, it might. Oh no, I've seen that one. I was going to say Bridge on the River Kwai, but that's a bit obscure. I don't think that many people would put that in their top 10.
All the little kiddies don't even know what you're talking about.
I know.
A bridge over the Mogwai? Is she talking about gremlins?
There must be ones that I haven't seen that are in the top 10. There's ones but people love that I don't necessarily love, like Star Wars.
Sorry.
Heresy! Burn her! She's a witch!
Get out.
Maybe we burn her.
Get out.
I know, I don't belong.
I've got to start
Think we should burn-
of my room as well.
I know.
I know.
There's a Han Solo hanging in carbonite.
There he is. There's my butler. Oh, God. I just feel empty inside. Oh, by the way, I've got a better answer from the last one, but I'm not supposed to do this. But Braveheart.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. You didn't get it?
Nice.
I was just like, okay, whatever. So, Schnepp, I'm asking you. I'm going to do rapid fire now. Are you ready, Schnepp?
Okay. Yeah, let's rock it. Rapid fire.
What was the game that made you a gamer?
The game that made me a gamer was Q*bert.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember Q*bert.
It's like you're a little creature that hops around on a maze, and you change the colors of the maze, and a weird snake follows you around, and you're trying to avoid these strange orbs, and if you drop off into another dimension and die.
Yeah, I remember that.
Very abstract game. That game, and then another game called Kix, which is it's spelled Qix, and it's basically you like create shapes and then try to avoid a bizarre sine wave that will destroy you. Here's another one, Tempest, where you're like this weird crab creature that flies around. I like abstract, freaky games. So, and those were when I was a kid. I played those games. Those are the games that made me get obsessed with playing video games. So.
When you were a kid, what superhero did you pretend to be?
I remember the first, I think the first costume that I made 3 or 4 costumes when I was like 4, 5, 6, all in felt, and it was like Spider-Man, Batman, and Iron Man. I cut them out of felt, and like my mom helped me make them. I'd walk around with these like weird. It was for Halloween. It wasn't just an everyday thing, but I should just be like, yeah, it was an everyday thing. I just walked around as a felt Iron Man. It's just what I did, and then I got beat up for it. But no, that was what I was into. I like to make those things.
What is that sword behind you?
That is Conan the Barbarian from the movie Conan the Barbarian. It's the actual sword.
What?
Show us.
Show us your sword.
What is the riddle of steel? What is the riddle of steel? I have a little face bones on mine, on my sword. If you can see, it's a magnet of our little pal Face Bones from a TV show called Metalocalypse. Metal octopus. Yeah.
That looks like the symbol that's all throughout Doom as well. The goat symbol.
This is like one of the only things that I got when I was at San Diego Comic-Con. It is a ROM, the Space Knight action figure, whatever. It's a little Mighty Mugs. You know how they super deformed little. Yeah, I used to read Rom the Space Knight when I was a kid, so I don't think anyone knows what the hell Rom the Space Knight is. So
no idea.
Yeah, got nothing. Right.
Got nothing. What was the first movie that you remember seeing in the theaters?
Ooh, I think it was Soylent Green with Charlton Heston. Cool. The crackers are people. Yeah, humans are food or whatever.
Humans are food.
Yeah. Or is it one of the? Yeah, I remember seeing that freaking me out. Boy, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But I saw one of. I'm pretty sure it was Soylent Green. That's what I remember. So.
Wow, it's a scary one to start with.
Yeah.
And then the whole panel gets to enjoy this one. We do a round of PWR. I call it power. It stands for playing, watching, and reading. So we ask everyone what their power is. If you are watching this as well, please join in. There's a comment box below. We'll be reading those out as well. I love to do it just as like a geek kind of sanction where we can all get together and share what we're up to at the moment. So Tegan, we'll kick it off with you. Hit me with your power. What are you playing, watching, and reading?
Okay, so playing, I've finally popped my Zelda cherry after all these years. I know, with A Link Between Worlds. Maude's very happy.
Oh,
So I finally got it.
What do you think of it?
Oh, I'm loving it. I've actually only just gotten to low rule, so I guess I'm halfway through. I don't know. Yeah, so loving it. Even though like I love games that have like little puzzles and stuff, even though I'm fucking terrible at it. So I've managed not to rage quit yet though, so that's good.
Tell me when you get to the boulder.
Okay. All right. Great. Great.
And what are you watching?
At the moment, I'm actually rewatching Weeds because I love that show. So written by the same person that did Orange is the New Black, so loving it. So that's fun. And I'm reading Life After Death by Damien Eccles, who was one of the West Memphis Three. So a brilliant book about his time in behind bars and everything that happened there. So amazing.
Morbid. All right, Schnepp, you're up.
Yeah.
What are you playing? What are you watching? What are you reading?
I'm currently playing Max Payne 3, the like extended maps where it's like I'm in Brazil, messing, screwing some people up. Can we swear on your show?
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
good, yes.
Yeah, fucking people up. It's a really fun game. So that's what I'm currently playing. It's like, I guess Max Payne 3 came out a few years ago, but it's like I'll just like buy these these games online on Xbox, and then it's a lot of fun. I just download them and then I play them. So that's what I'm currently playing.
The 360 or the one?
The 360. I'm not getting sucked into the one. Sorry, they won't get me. So
mine's hit and miss. So yeah.
360 all the way until they drag it out of my cold dead hands.
Watching.
What I'm watching right now, I'm catching up on season 2 of Orphan Black. So I'm like,
I just finished it.
Yeah, I'm right on I think episode 8. So I'm like trying to savor it because I know it's almost over. So I have to like, I don't want it to end too soon, but I'm really enjoying it. And it was weird. Season 2 started a little weak for me. I didn't like the first 4 or 5 episodes, but now it's picked up. So
yeah.
While
I've got you here, we actually do a Doctor Who and Orphan Black podcast. It's called Clone Companion. You can catch that every week on this network as well. So if you're into those two things, that's all we talk about.
Yeah, and I downloaded the new Capaldi Doctor Who, but I haven't seen it yet. So
dude, what are you doing here?
I know, right? I should be at home watching it, right? Well, now I'll probably watch it later in next week. I don't have any time to watch the things I like to do. So, and currently I'm reading Prophet, which is a weird image comic book. It's an insane kind of surrealist science fiction fantasy set like 10,000 years in the future. So, Maude, you disappeared.
Rad.
Yeah, have you checked out Prophet?
Yes, I have. So, it's very cool.
Yeah, I really like that comic book. So.
Yeah, right. Leisha, quickly. I know you're not really playing too much.
I play Quiz Up on my phone, and I play the movie categories, and it's a lot of fun. So that's what I'm playing. Watching. Well, I just saw a great film actually on iTunes called Startup, and it's from Northern Ireland, but it's based in a UK prison system, and it stars a young boy who's played by Jack O'Connell, is a name to watch. He's from the British version of Skins, Maude tells me. He is transferred from a juvenile prison to an adult prison. Ben Mendelsohn plays his dad. I highly recommend it. It's on iTunes. Reading, okay, this is where I show my nerd side, is I'm doing a show next week which is all about Martin Scorsese. So I'm reading a personal journey with Martin Scorsese through American movies, try and get an insight into the types of films that he likes to watch. So that's me, and it's good. It's got a lot of fun pictures, and I picked it up for $8 at Amoeba.
Nice. Scorsese's such a film nerd.
Yes, that's what I love about him. Yeah. He's so great. Yeah.
Can I throw in one meta thing too? Another thing that I've kind of been reading.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Metalocalypse.
Nice.
Yeah. Just to get metal.
That's hard to get. That's impossible to find. They're not reprinting the comics or the hardcovers. So if you hold on to that, it might go up like by $2 or something. I don't know.
That's what I want. Saving for my retirement.
Nicely done. And I'm just going to show you my power. I'm playing Star Wars Commander on the iOS. It's a free game. Obviously, it's LucasArts doing that one. It's exactly, pretty much the whole algorithm is exactly Clash of Clans. but it hasn't stopped me from putting a shit ton of hours into it. I'm going against Ken Napzok, who is my co-host on Jedi Alliance. He's on the dark side. I'm fighting with the rebels, and I fucking regret it.
Oh.
I wish I could get it. I wish I could send in the AT-ATs for my battle, but whatever. The good must prevail. At the moment, I'm watching. Just finished Orphan Black season 2. Woohoo!
Nice.
But
You're watching a lot of Law and Order SVU. How many hours did you watch that for yesterday?
I think there's like
5 hours?
7,000 episodes of Law and Order. Aren't there like 8,000 episodes of Law and Order SVU?
I've done 2 seasons this week.
You gotta get into the Criminal Intent, man. Criminal Intent is where it's at.
No, I love Olivia Benson and Elliot Stabler.
But Vincent D'Onofrio, you get these ones.
I mean, I'm allowed to skip the episode if I've watched it in the last 12 months, and I can tell within 4 seconds if I have. But yeah, poor Alicia walks past. Dun, dun.
That's all I hear from you.
That's all I did last night.
There's a dead body. Dun, dun.
Yeah, I like
actually, that's called a DB.
The DB, right. I like that you can tell from the cold open, like, immediately. That's fantastic.
That's right.
We need a bus. We need a bus on 3rd. Like, I know what happened. The janitor did it. He's an illegal immigrant, and the murder weapon is in the library with Colonel Mustard.
Yeah.
And I'm reading at the moment. Oh God, this is terrible. Not much. I'm not reading much. I would love to get through Game of Thrones, which I haven't yet. I've been given a bunch of Star Wars books. I'm going to read. I think it's New Dawn, which comes out in about 3 days. So I'm going to get stuck into more Star Wars. Alrighty, Schnepp, spotlight is on you. Let's get chatting.
What?
So I met you at AMC Movie Talk.
That's right.
We actually weren't on the same panel a few times because I'm apparently the female version of you, which I've only ever taken as a compliment. Thank you.
Hey, all right.
You're right. Yeah.
She's like a female Schnepp, you know what I'm saying? I heard that. I was like, all right, let's see this. Who's this Maude Garrett chick? And she, I like your crazy faces.
Like everyone else too. I think we bonded over a scenario where a strawberry tries to kill everyone.
That's
but I
right.
want to, like, for those who don't know, Alicia, do you want us to explain AMC because you are one of the regs?
Sure, yes. AMC Theatres have a YouTube channel which is really fantastic, and they do a show every day, 5 days a week, called AMC Movie Talk, where we get to nerd out about movies and talk about it. And now they're starting a whole bunch of new shows. I'm on one called AMCI Indie Spotlight, where we talk all about indie films. And what I love about this show is that it is a bunch of movie nerds all together talking about movies and analysing them, and we have a great community of fans who interact with us as well. And that's where I met Schnepp, and I just knew he was my jam straight away because you always like all the great films. You've got such a broad knowledge of film, and I really respect that.
Right on. Well, thanks, Alicia. Yeah, I think you're a very, very intelligent film lady. You've got all the proper background to be able to talk about films, which is what we always say. Like, hey, you got to know your history. You got to know. You can't just know the last 10 years of movies. Where did all those movies come from? Because you always hear about movies getting remade. Well, guess what? They're all being remade from the 70s and 60s and 50s and 40s. It's like, and those original films are so much fun to watch. So. I'm never afraid to tell someone to watch a black and white movie. They're like, those are boring. It's like, don't make me kill you. I'm coming after you. Yeah,
I
don't like it when it's in black and white. Strangle.
Kids today.
How did that start for you? Like, when was your first time on AMC? What was that conversation where you ended up sitting there in the chair?
So my first time on AMC was they wanted to talk about what is this Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and a friend of mine had suggested me because I was in Morgan Spurlock's episode 4, A Fan's Hope. I was in his documentary because I was at Comic-Con, and Holly introduced me. We were at a party, and he liked Metalocalypse, and I was super drunk, and he was like, "Hey, so yeah, I know, weird, huh? At a party being drunk," but he was like, so what's your take on Comic-Con? I was like, what are all these lawyer shows? Why do they have comedies? This is supposed to be for nerds. I was going off. he was like, hey, you've got an interesting perspective. Would you like to be in my documentary? I was like, yeah, I'll say all that stuff. And of course, the next day I was like, I don't want to get blacklisted because I was like calling people out left and right. So I kind of said all that stuff, but a little more chill. And I ended up I opened the movie and I closed the movie, and I have like 3 other like segments in that film. So a lot of people started asking me to be like a talking head, even though for the last 15 years I've been directing television shows like Metalocalypse and Venture Brothers and Upright Citizens Brigade, to name a couple. But so I started just becoming more of a person in front of the camera, just talking about stuff, movies in general. Did a couple video game things for G4, and then I got suggested to be on AMC Movie Talk to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, because everyone knows I'm a giant comic book nerd. It's like I've been reading comics as a little kid. I got like 30,000 comics, like hundreds of graphic novels. So I'm a big comic book reader. And so no one knew anything about Guardians of the Galaxy, and they said, hey, you should get this guy on. He can talk in front of a camera, yada, yada. I went on. And Campia and everyone else was like, dude, we loved having you. You can come back anytime. I was like, yeah, man, it was really fun for me, because to talk about movies with a bunch of other movie geeks, I just normally wouldn't do it, because all the people I was hanging out with were more like animation, like animators. And so I was kind of like, they never knew what I was into. Well, a few of them did, but it was just like, wow, these are my brethren. So, of course, I was like, yeah, I'll come back anytime. So they kept asking me to come back. And I just kept coming back. Like at that time when I came on, it was like 2 years ago. An AMC Movie Talk was called AMC for Your Consideration when I came on. They had just started. They had just started like 3 months or 5 months before I came on. It was once a week, and I think it had about 15,000 viewers a month. And now we have 5 million. So that's just to give you a little gauge as to when I started and now where we're at. We're 5 million viewers a month. It's pretty amazing. But so I just started coming on, and then about months in, they started doing it 3 times a week. So I came on like once every week instead of once or twice a month. And then it went to like a year and a half ago, it went to every day. And so I just started doing it every day, and became like an actual, we're paid a little bit of money. And so I started getting paid to do it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool to, be on a web show and get some cash. And it was a lot of fun. So I've been doing it ever since, and then we expanded the crew, and Alicia came on, and Christian Harloff came on, and a whole bunch of other semi-regulars like Maude are now part of the whole family. So Miri came on. So it's been great. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
You were saying, though, let's start at the very beginning, and just a reminder to everyone as well, if you're watching, there's the comment box underneath. The comments are in a little side panel for me, so they stream, so I can see them all the time. Keep them coming. We will be getting to all of your questions, and I love that everyone's talking about their PWRs. Sandy is watching Malone's Movie Minute, by the way, Alicia.
Yeah.
Nice. And get your questions in for Schnepp as well, but you can probably answer some of these as well. You said you got started in animation. Now, that was news to me. I never really knew that, and I loved finding out about the fact that you have been on like big shows, not only as a, you directed a lot, but you started in animation. You designed characters and everything, and you even voiced a few. Where was your start with this? Did you go to college? Did you move on to it? How did you get your break?
I started, I went to college for fine art to be a painter. I mean, even though I was a super nerd and I was like, maybe I'll be a comic book artist, then I was going to a magnet school, and that kind of flipped me into like just wanting to do art. So I studied weird videos and performance art. I was writing these weird comedies, and it was a lot of just weird stuff. And I was living in Chicago. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and graduated from there. Some of my friends were doing music videos at the time. This is the early 90s. And 9 Inch Nails shot their first video at my house. And so, yeah, it was Down in It. That's all shot at my house. And so my friends, when they did that video, and it blew up. And so their company, they started doing a whole bunch of music videos. So they're like, yo, Schnepp, you want to act in our videos? So I'm like in an Ozzy Osbourne video. If you watch Infectious Grooves Therapy, you'll see me as a mad scientist. I'm in an Iron Maiden video. I'm in a Metallica video. Just all these, in a ton of music videos as a weird actor, which I got paid like, dude, you'll get $75. I'm like, awesome, I was like 20. I was like, this is amazing, And so I started this company. I learned how to do editing, and I learned how to do animation and After Effects. And so I got hired by a couple years later. I got hired to do a James Bond Jr. cartoon for Cartoon Network, and that led to me going out to Atlanta to edit Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I think it was their seventh episode, and the editors in Atlanta had burned out, and Mike Lazo was like, I need someone weird. Do you know anybody weird? And the guy that I was working with was like, well, this guy Schnepp is weird, so get him. So I ended up coming out to Atlanta for a couple months, and then they moved the production to LA, so they were like, Schnepp, you want to come out to LA and live out in LA for 6 months and edit Space Ghost? So I was like, and I was living in Chicago, I was like, and it was a lot of money too, so I was like, fuck yeah. So I came out and just lived out here for 6 months, and then went back to Chicago for 6 months. And I had a small animation company in Chicago. It was called Behemoth. And we had done, like, I had done all the animation for this Nickelodeon kids show called Patchhead, which was like a little kid who wore a watermelon on his head, and he was like rode around on a big wheel, and it was like we shot it live action, green screen, with all the sets were miniatures. It's a really weird show. I don't even know if it's on YouTube or not. Just search Patchhead. Maybe nothing will show up. I don't know. But that just led to me making more weird stuff, and I moved out here, worked on a bunch more shows. I worked on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I designed like Carl's house and Aqua Teen's house and the Shake Door, and then I ended up doing a voice for the Wisdom Cube. So if you ever watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I was that annoying little cube, like, hey, I got a story for you. Hey, I was that guy. Oh, well, that voice. And,
you did Gary the Dairy Fairy as well, thank you. How does that one go?
No. Actually, it's weird. That's just a mistake on IMDb. Tommy Blatcha, who's Roxo the Clown and Murderface on Metalocalypse, he did Gary the Dairy Fairy. On that episode, I played the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is basically, if you watch that episode, I'm just a dude at Best Buy with a billion teeth on my face. It's just like... And I'm all red, and I'm like, what's up, man? Just my regular voice. I'm like, yeah, what do you guys want? They're like, you stole some stuff. I was like, no, I'm just shopping, man. It's just that I play this weird monster. So, but yeah, I'm always amazed at how, like, things will go on IMDb or Wikipedia.
I'm
and I don't
looking
even
at it now.
Yeah, it's like Jon Schnepp is Gary the Dairy Fairy. And then if you look at Gary the Dairy Fairy, it's designed to look like Tommy Blatcha. So it's like maybe one of you people on the interwebs will fix that after watching this show. Like type it in, like, get your shit straight, But
That's it.
Then I went on to Tommy Blatcha. Speaking of him, I was working with him. He got me a couple of jobs. Like, he was working on Mind of Mencia, and so I ended up doing a couple little graphics for Mind of Mencia. And then he moved on and hung out with Brendan Small, and Tommy was like, hey, John, do you want to design these characters? So then I created the characters Death Clock. I looked at a bunch of death metal bands and then just came up with the ugliest dudes I could possibly draw, except for Pickles, who I kind of modeled after Brad Pitt. So if you look at all of them, they're all kind of really like kind of like, guys that you'd see in a bar late at night. That would be Death Clock. And then Pickles, but he's like kind of good looking. So
Yes.
So then I designed the characters, did a little music video, and Brendan did the Death Clock theme song, and we just made that, and then those guys performed it at South by Southwest, and they sent it out to Mike Lazo, and Mike Lazo was like, all right, I want to make this, but we didn't know how many episodes we were going to do so it took like 7 months to get the contracts done. This was in 2005. And then we got like a 20-episode order, and I was like, yeah! So we just started making it, and then it premiered in 2006, and it was kind of fun to like make this show like with no one knowing anything about it. And I always felt like it's either going to be a giant hit or a horrible flop, because people either get it or they won't get it. So I was really happy that people got it. So I worked on it for 8 more years, and I left the show like in season 4 to make my own stuff. So I made Grim Fairy Tales. I raised $188,000 on Kickstarter to just make this crazy homage to the old 1980s heavy metal movie. So I did that, and then my second Kickstarter was this Death of Superman Lives, What Happened documentary. I was like, you know what, I'm interested in finding out about this. I've never made a documentary before. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm not going to do animation for a little while. I'm going to just make a feature film and make a documentary. So that's what I've been doing for like the last 16 months. So.
Wow, that's a long time, and I'm glad we did get to chat about it. But before we move on to the Death of Superman Lives, you are talking to a big fan of Metalocalypse.
Right? Oh, wait. Here, I'll show you something. Hold on a sec.
I can't even.
Metalocalypse. Cool.
Metalocalypse.
Rock my lips. I beg your pardon, miss. I didn't
Oh, I stand by it.
rock my lips.
Beautiful.
What have we got here, Shabby?
This is Eric Powell did a cover for that. What you were looking at, and it's the Dr. Roxo. So I've actually got the original painting of Dr. Roxo with Death Clock's severed heads on a pile of cocaine. So this hangs. That's right. I do cocaine. What's up, Cake Bomb? Yeah, so this is one of my prizes, and thanks to Eric Powell for doing such an amazing piece of artwork. So
remember how I said I had a safety bubble? It is this that pops it.
You got it's so good. Can I just ask a question? And this is something that both myself and my partner, who suck it because you're not in this chat right now, Nathan. Were any of those characters that you designed actually based off any metal frontmen? Like, did you mind? Fantastic.
I'll say this. You always hear. It always makes. I'm always amazed when I go online, and sometimes I'll search out like Death Clock, and you'll see all these people like, this character's based on this guy, and it's like, no, I just came up with all of them all in one day and drew all of them out, and at that time they didn't even have names yet, and like Tommy and Brendan had just kind of like. Tommy came up with Nathan Explosion and Murderface, those two names. Brendan came up with Pickles, and then the other two names were word generated in a computer program on the internet. Toki Wartooth and Squistar were just randomly word generated.
So good.
So yeah, I just came up with all those characters myself, and except for Nathan Explosion, the hulkish way that he looks was inspired by George Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse. Just that kind of like slab-like Hulk, like gray shirt with the weird hair, just like a creature that's just screaming. So that's kind of what I tried to get from the general shape. I mean, when I designed the characters, I looked at it like, I want you to be able to tell who they are. If they were in a shadowy room, you could tell just from looking at the outlines of them. Oh, that's Murderface. He's got the super Jufro, like weird skull, like skull head, and there's Squisgar. He's got blonde hair. Toki's got brown hair. Nathan's got black hair. Pickles has got red hair. And Pickles was one of the characters that went through the most transformations. Like when I designed him, I gave him kind of almost like punk rock look. He had like spiky hair with a clean, no facial hair at all. And then once we actually started making the show, Brendan and Tommy were like, "Hey, make it look like this guy from Strapping Young Lad." Devin Townsend.
Oh, yeah,
so
Devin Townsend, of course.
Yeah, so I was like, really? You wanted me to make him look just like this guy? And they were like, yeah. So I was like, all right, whatever. So we made him bald with these dreads, and then Devin Townsend's manager called us because one of these photos leaked, and he was like, you got to change it. That's his look, and this and that. And I was like, wow, he's getting all weird about this homage to him. All right, fuck it, I'll change it, but I'm still going to keep him bald. I'm just going to give him the worst comb-over ever. So I designed, 10 different, of the worst comb-overs. Someday I'll just throw it online, but I did, a Flock of Seagulls comb-over. like all these different horrible comb-overs. Like, you're still bald, dude, but, instead... So the one that won was, a weird, almost alien dread comb-over, but we just got rid of one of, it was originally, a hand that went over like this, but we just got rid of it. So it's, this dreadlock comb-over. It's one of the dumbest hairstyles ever created. So that's what Devin Townsend did. Yeah, and eventually he was on the show. A year later, he's a voice on the show. But at first, a lot of death metal guys were like, they're making fun of death metal. It's like, you don't get it. We're making fun of everything, and we're embracing death metal. Fuck you if you don't understand it, So eventually, all the death metal bands came around. They're like, wait, these guys actually love metal, and they love death metal, and they love rock and roll, and they're just making fun of the lifestyle of celebrityism. So once the bands all understood that, then everyone came around it. And now the show doesn't even really have death metal guys anymore. It's just like celebrities. They get celebrity voiceovers. But I'm not working on the show anymore. I just left it. But,
one of the things that I know that you worked on too was with the Death Clock Live as well. So how does that go? Where you go on tour with a fictional cartoon band? Can you talk about that maybe a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was part of the original idea. It's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this actually got big, and then we, actually make a like a heavy metal movie that you can watch while the band was supposed to kind of be in the background with all black, and you would just watch the videos. But, over time, the band just became, they get better lit. But then you see it's like, oh, it's a bunch of these incredible musicians like Mike Keneally and Brian Beller. They're all on stage with Brennan. You got Gene Hoglan playing the drums. But basically, I directed like about like 85% of all the music videos that you've seen when you go to watch the actual tour. I made most of them, and a couple other directors did one or two of the other ones. But it was a lot of work, believe me. Like doing those first couple concerts was like doing a music video for every song. And then how it works is basically Gene has a click track in his ear, and you hear a click, 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 and then he starts playing. So everything is syncopated by him listening to the video click track play. So all of the instruments are all live, but that's why everything syncs up so well. So you're watching the videos, and I edited all the videos as well that I directed, so they're all like just right on beat. And that's kind of the thing that I'm known for, is like a lot of people who didn't know I was working on Metalocalypse were like, yo, it was very much like a Jon Schnepp type of feel, because all the other things I've made before that had that kind of thing, because usually I'm in when I'm directing, and I'm also compositing and doing animation and editing, so it's like it kind of has my flavor to it. So
very cool. I'm just going to sit here and geek out for a little bit. Excuse me.
You're very welcome. It's a little bit late to ask for funding, because the funding for The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, has reached over the pledged amount of $98,000, which is amazing. In fact, the reason why I have been drinking this whole time is to celebrate.
Yay!
Totally.
Cheers.
Yay. But now, Schnepp, you're onto the recreation scenes. Is that correct?
Yeah. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm raising additional money so that I can make some of these scenes that are inspired by all the different scripts and what Tim Burton and Kevin Smith and those guys were all trying to make. So it's sort of like when you're watching a documentary and you hear someone talking about a specific scene. What I want to do is then like dissolve away while they're talking, and you see what they're talking about, and then it comes back to them. So it's not like particularly like a 3-minute clip of a scene from a script. It's more like what they're talking about, you'll visually see it. The best way to describe it is if you saw Jodorowsky's Dune, it's a lot of storyboards. Yes. What I'm doing is taking like the idea of what those storyboards would be, and then turning them into like animation, live action. So yeah, it's going to be a mixture of all that stuff, and it's pretty exciting. So like I said, we have 2 weeks left. If you guys want to support making these recreation scenes, go to supportsupermanlives.com. Go there now. You can buy a T-shirt that says "I'm a recreationist" with a weird skull on it.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like that's, or you could get your name as a recreationist for $25. So
awesome.
It's all donation based. So you donate, and it'll help me make these things. So that's kind of where I'm at. The reason I was raising money this time around, I did a Kickstarter a year ago, and I thought I could get the film done in 7 months, and actually I just was able to get an editing team working with me now, which, as you can see, I'll just pan over and you'll see them. There they are. Wave, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, so while I'm yapping away, they're actually kicking ass on the different scenes.
That is awesome.
You guys will actually, if you wanna see some a few clips from the actual movie, this Sunday, if you live in Los Angeles and Hollywood, California, I'm going to be at the Everything Is Festival, which is at Cinefamily, and you can get tickets. You could get your tickets right now at cinefamily.org. And it's the Death of Superman Lives, What Happened panel. So I'll be there. A bunch of the other people working on will be there, and we're going to show a bunch of clips from the actual movie. None of them are done, so it's like really early, rough kind of clips. But if you come, you'll get to check that stuff out. And once again, if you want to help me do these recreation scenes, I was raising money because it's taken so much longer to do the documentary. I literally just interviewed. I had to go to England to interview Tim Burton, and that was in March of this year.
Yes, I want to ask all about that, because obviously this documentary is about his Superman that never actually happened.
Yes.
How is he? What was his reception like to the general idea of the documentary?
You know what? When I first started the Kickstarter, like last January and February, there was an article that came out in the Huffington Post that he was like, "Hey, have you heard about this? This person trying to make a documentary?" He was like, "Yeah, I wish him luck. Hopefully it'll come out better than my film because I never got to make it. So, cut to about 6 months later, I finally was able to. A mole had contacted me. That's one of the great things about doing something like this. Like all these people come out of the woodwork, and somebody was like, "Hey, I'm working over in Canada. I'm working on this other TV show, but they're shooting Big Eyes. If you want to get in contact with the production manager, here's their email." So I wrote a really nice email and said, "Hey, I'm trying to contact Tim Burton to be interviewed." They forwarded it over to Tim Burton's right-hand man, this producer. His name is Derek Fry, an incredible filmmaker on his own. He's also Tim Burton's main producer. He responded to me in a really nice email saying, "Look, Tim Burton's super busy. He's not sure if he wants to be in the film, but we're behind what you're doing." And I was like, "Cool, awesome. I'll get back to you in a few months." A few months passed. I wrote him back. He said, "You know what? Tim's kind of thinking about it, but he's not ready yet. When do you need to get this film done?" I was like, "Hey, look, it's Tim Burton. I'm making a film where Tim Burton's Superman lives. I will wait as long as I need to." So they were like, "Cool, we'll get back to you at the beginning of the year." So the beginning of this year, basically, we talked about it, and they said, "Look, if you come out, like, there's a little opening for a week in March. Tim needs to meet you first, and then if he's into it, he'll do the interview a few days later." So literally, we came out. It was a really small crew. It was me, Holly, and Chris. We all went out to England and ended up meeting Tim Burton, and it was a really quick meeting. It was very quick. He was just like, we sat down, hung out for a minute. He was like, "All right, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. Come back in a couple days." We came back and we rocked it out, talked to him for like an hour and a half. He was amazingly fun to talk to, and it was a great interview. So it's like literally Kevin Smith, the month before that was in February, and it took me about 8 months to lock him down because all these guys are really super busy.
Yeah.
Wait, Holly's taking a picture.
Hi!
Hey, Holly, come over here for a second.
Yeah, Holly.
Like
This
listening,
is the one and only Holly.
listening. Check it out. Here she
There
is.
she is.
Hey.
Yeah. Holly's been working on
Hello.
this film with me, and she's a producer on the film, so she's been a great help. Yeah, you can't hear what I'm saying.
I'm a big fan of you girls, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you.
So yeah, so that's where that's at. And then once I actually talked to Tim Burton, like I had been contacting all these other crew members, and I finally realized, I'm like, imagine if you were trying to talk. If I was like, "Hey, look, your boss doesn't want to talk to me, but would you do an interview with me?"
Yeah.
But he hasn't agreed to it yet. So that's kind of what happened. Is like once Tim agreed and we filmed it, it opened. Everybody was like, "All right, I'll talk to you." So I literally have been able to talk to everyone else who's been involved in the film, and all the interviews have been incredible. So I still have about 6 more interviews to do over the next 2 months, and we're just working on post-production. So we're sort of like in the middle of like we're editing and adding to it and filming, and I'm adding scenes. So it's like it's that kind of really super exciting moment. Post-production is always fun for me. It's like filming, the pre-production is fun. The actual filming sometimes is just a big headache, but I love every element of it. So right now we're like in every element of it. We're editing, we're doing post-production, we're pre-production, we're still shooting, so it's going to be like that.
To see it all come together finally must be such a treat.
Yeah, it is. It is actually really fun to see scenes that have been in the can for like 6 months slowly being edited with stuff that we just shot last week. It's all just kind of like, what's going on? So it's a lot of fun. But it's going to be going on like this for at least the next 4 months. So.
So when you have an idea like, I wonder what happened to this movie that was supposed to be released. I know that the idea was spawned around 1987, and it's supposed to be released sort of the end of the 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yes.
And then to be like, I want to know what happened. It's like taking a thread from a sweater and then just unraveling it slowly.
Yeah. No, that's a really good analogy. I mean, it really, for me, it's I kind of look at it as like an archaeological exploration. I'm putting on my weird Indiana Jones hat and like diving into this 15 years ago, this experience that all these people had. So it's a lot of fun talking to them because for a lot of them, it is just like yesterday. Like once you kind of uncork those memories, it's just like sort of everything comes rushing back to these people. So it is a lot of fun to find out about it. Plus, I have the foreknowledge of everything that's happened since. So as I can go forward in time and backwards in time, and that's kind of what the movie is about. It's an exploration not just of Superman Lives, but what it is when you take an iconic character and you see. I go through the history of Superman and like all the different changes that have happened to that character over 75 years. He's had different suits. He's been a thing of electricity. There's all these different things that when you abstract a character from a book or a comic book or anything that's not film, sometimes you have people overreact, and that's one of the things I kind of get into is like if the Tim Burton Batman movie, if we had the internet the way it is now, that Batman movie would have never happened because all the trolls would have been like, I can't believe Beetlejuice is playing Batman. What? The outfit's all black? I can't believe the outfit's all black. Now everybody's on Nolan's tip because Batman's in a black outfit. If you forget about that Tim Burton introduced that whole concept, because before that, he was in a blue and gray kind of like the yellow thing. He's like, hey, remember me? I'm Adam West, you know? That was what everybody thought of as Batman. And characters in general, superhero characters, were a lot more cartoony and like goofy. That's just kind of how it was. In the comic books, Frank Miller was writing Dark Knight, Alan Moore was writing Watchmen, but in movies you didn't have that. Everyone's like, yeah, comic books are goofy and for children, right? It was a totally different divide. Like you had adult audiences like me, I was reading all those comic books, but the perception of comic book characters for film was like, oh, this isn't for children and little diaper people. You know?
Do you think that it would have been a success, Tim Burton's version of Superman?
Honestly, I do.
Cage.
I think it would have actually been a success. I mean, that's why it was always an interest for me for like the last 15 years. I was collecting it. That's why I even made this documentary. I was collecting images. Every couple of months I do a search to see if new artwork came out, and then I watched the Kevin Smith thing in 2006. Those electric suits went online on YouTube on like 2009, and then ended up meeting Steve Johnson in 2012. I went out to dinner with a bunch of my friends, and I told them all about this. They were like, you should make a documentary. I was like, I don't make documentaries. And another guy was like, you should do it on Kickstarter, because I had just done that Grim Fairy Tales. I was like, nah. And then like 3 months later, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. Why not? And if people want to see it, they'll contribute, and then I'll make it. And then people contributed, and now I'm making it. So it was kind of just a very weird, organic process to become documentary filmmaker. It's not like I wanted to make documentaries. I love documentaries, though. I love watching them. I didn't necessarily want to make them. I like making films. I like writing. I like directing. So this is just a totally different process, but it's been a lot of fun. Like the way I've actually constructed this documentary, it's very much like a screenplay. I wrote out like what I would call a paper edit, where it's like you have a beginning, middle, and end, and you have a through line and a story. So it's sort of like I knew even before ever even interviewing anybody how I knew I wanted to write it, because it is a time travel kind of thing. You go back and forth in time. So it's kind of trippy.
If you are watching this, we are getting to those questions. They're coming in thick and fast, which is amazing. So if you do have a question, now is the time to get to it. We'll be getting to those very shortly. But you've reached some pretty massive pinnacles just in the lead up to making this documentary. I know that over Comic-Con you released one of your trailers, and it ended up trending on Twitter worldwide, thanks to Kevin Smith.
That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was literally over 1.5 million hits in like 2 days. So it was quite a lot of fun, and it was really fun to talk to everybody and to have people see stuff that, you know, up until that point, just Holly and I had seen, you know, and our two editors, Marie and Chris. So sort of one of those things where I was like, wow, it's really fun to see that kind of positive reaction, because we're not making a slam piece. It's like a lot of people like make fun of Nick Cage and they make fun of this movie, and they don't understand, at least in my eyes, I think Nick Cage is one of the greatest actors on this planet. I mean, let alone that he won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, but remember, he was a character actor. He was in like Wild at Heart, Raising Arizona, Vampire's Kiss. The list is endless. Adaptation, all these amazing films. I mean, maybe a couple films that he's done in the last few years. Yeah, I mean, the guy's amazing.
You know that girl where you guys ready? Yeah. Let's rock.
but Schnepp, you have shown me some images of Nicolas Cage in the Superman suit, and it does get you really excited. I think it could have been really cool to see him be Superman.
Yeah, I think that him and Tim Burton had a very unique take, which still hasn't been done yet, because you watch Superman Returns, and that's really good if you're an insomniac, because it'll make you go to sleep. Or if you watch Man of Steel, which I really enjoyed. I like Zack Snyder's take on it. I mean, a lot of people complain about, like I say, like the 6,000 9/11s that happen at the end of the movie, or snapping the neck of Zod. I mean, some of those things, like really hardcore Superman fans are like, Superman would have never done that. But I look at it like it's a different version of the Superman icon. And in this version, he was only Superman for like one day, and all of a sudden these Kryptonians show up, and he's forced to fight. It's like, I mean, you think about it. He just had that suit, and he's doing the greatest American hero thing, like learning how to fly, like hopping around. He's like, hey, this is kind of cool. What? And then Kryptonians show up. Like, hey, man, this ain't cool. He's like, he's got to defend the entire planet. So that's why I'm really excited about Batman versus Superman. I think that's going to be a really cool film. I think it's a great way for DC to introduce all these iconic characters all in one film, and everyone's like getting all nervous, like, I don't know about Wonder Woman and Cyborg. It's like, why don't you relax? That's my whole attitude about people getting way too sweaty about like prejudging movies. Just like how people helped kill Superman Lives. They're like, I don't believe Nicolas Cage just doesn't have the square jaw of Superman. Well, neither do you. Neither do you, Toby. You don't look like Superman either. Did you ever think about that? It's like, why don't you relax with this whole idea of what Superman looks like? That's my take on all these kinds of films. Like the Wolverine, you had Hugh Jackman. He's 6'5". Wolverine in the comic books is like 5'2". And it was like, he's like what's wrong? Holly's saying the sound cut out.
Oh, no, we hear it still.
No, we hear.
All right. It's just on her weird laptop, right, guys?
Sorry, Holly.
But yeah, I'm saying like Hugh Jackman. I mean, now everyone sees him as Wolverine. Like you couldn't possibly imagine an X-Men movie without Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think he's fantastic. I never had a problem with him being 6'4". I never had a problem with him not wearing those weird yellow stripy Wolverine like spandex. You're like, look, that was great in the comic books. I think comic books are comic books, and I love them, and I think films are films, and some of those things don't adapt or work in that world. I mean, you could go to the extreme and say, well, all that black leather that they were wearing was the one thing. It's like, look, I mean, you know what I mean? You're never going to get you're never going to satisfy everyone, is how I look at it. So as long as the movie is really fun and entertaining and does its job, then that's what I look for. Like I just saw Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, and I loved the middle section.
I loved it.
I loved the Dame to Kill For part of the movie, and the other outside two parts I could have done without. I just wish they weren't in the film, and I just wish it was just A Dame to Kill For, a 90-minute film with just that adaptation. I don't need it to be an anthology because those other two parts just they weren't good enough to be part of that movie. That's how I felt about it. While Josh Brolin, Ava Green, they were incredible. I just thought I loved that part of the movie. The things that diminished it for me was the beginning and the end. So I hope that when Rodriguez, like he did with the first Sin City, came out with an edit that was just each individual story as a standalone.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping he does that because I would just like to have my Dame to Kill For be just a Dame to Kill For. But I never got all the hate that people are like, man, it's horrible. I'm tired of this movie. It's like, hey, look, it's a very super stylized movie. It just took 9 years. They should have made it, a year later. The whole 9 years. That's what pissed me off. So.
Yeah.
And on a side note, completely, when you were bringing up the fact about Tim Burton doing Batman for the first time, with his kind of take on it and how people would have freaked out should there have been global communication on an immediate scale. We did cover that in AMC's Versus, so if anyone actually wants to watch the complete breakdown and Schnepp's take on who was the more influential director when it came to the Batmans, was it Burton or was it Christopher Nolan? Him and I both kind of dug into that one, so that's worth a look.
For sure.
If you do
it's a good episode to watch. Yeah.
Well, it's just a good extension on that one. We are heading to the questions, so Schnepp, we are a little bit short on time in the questions. There's quite a lot of them, so we'll get through them as quickly as possible. We've got one from Ben Hode here, and if you haven't written your question, there's a Q&A box as well, so we can get it to and show everyone what the question is. So here we are for John. What is the longest project you've worked on from kicking around the idea to the released product? How long?
The longest project, well, like I said, I started working on Death Clock when it was just called Death Clock at the beginning of 2005, and it didn't premiere until August of 2006, so that was about 18 months. I think The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, is going to be taking a little bit longer because right now I'm in the 16th month of working on it, and I've got 4 more months, so this movie will be kind of the longest film I've ever worked on, and it's my first feature film, which I'm excited about, but I've been on my off time. I've been writing 2 feature films at the same time. They're both both in the horror genre, which I did do ABCs of Death, which was like a super short segment. I'm one of 26 directors from all around the world. We did a letter of the alphabet. Not mine was W is for what the fuck. That's my short segment. But I was really honored to be included in this great group of all these different directors, like Ben Wheatley from England, 4 different Japanese directors, like from Tokyo Gore Police. The list is endless. So it's really fun to be all like part of this insane horror film festival. So if you never saw ABCs of Death, it's on Netflix. Check it out.
It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very extreme gore. I mean, especially L is for libido and X is for XXL. You know, Javier.
Not good for Maude.
No, so I'm into it. I love it enough to play for it. It's okay.
But the longest thing is probably what I'm working on right now. But most of the projects that I've worked on, they're always like 8 or 9 months before someone actually sees them. So.
Sweet. Quick one from Mark Stark, who just says, boom.
Boom. Yeah, Boom. Let's see. I did 2 comic books for Boom. One is Cthulhu Tales. I did the artwork for a Cthulhu Tales.
Right?
Yeah. No, Miss Catonic. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, of course you I don't know what it is, but it looks scary.
Yeah. It is one of the old ones I see. I have an old one. Yog Sothoth. Yes, and I also did a Zombie Tales, which was like, it was a story about me trying to quit smoking, and eventually I quit smoking. I haven't smoked in over 2 years, but at the time I was like still smoking. So I made a story about being a dude who's out of cigarettes, so he has to like go across the street and fight zombies to get to this pharmacy and get a pack of smokes. So he gets killed, and then he's a zombie smoking cigarettes because that's how.
Yes, to those watching in Australia, yes, you can buy cigarettes from a pharmacist. We don't understand either, but it's the thing.
Well, it's a drug.
If you're in Wollongong, you can get it from Chico's, your local chicken shop, where there's underage people selling it to you. Go
I gotta go to Australia.
We've got one from Liam Logrande. He said, John, did you ever get close to interviewing Nick Cage or Sandra Bullock?
You know what? We'll wait and see about that. Can't say yes or no just yet, but yeah, things are in development. So.
Was Sandra Bullock Lois Lane?
You know what? Yes and no. I mean, I think one of the producers had probably reached out and talked to her, but Tim Burton was basically said no. He had never. It didn't see how it works sometimes in Hollywood is like, you know, there's a list that goes out from the producer's end that reaches out to a bunch of actors, and then they'll come back in and then approach the director, or the director might have an idea as to who he wants, and he'll reach out to those people. So I think in this case, that's what happened. So.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go, Zach. That answers your question, which was who was up for Lois. It's a sticky question. Got one from Adam Brown. I have a feeling he's watched AMC Movie Talk a lot, and he says, can you go into more detail why you like The Amazing Spider-Man 2? I watch AMC Movie Talk all the time, and when I watch P.S. Adam, I'm sorry, honey, maybe your fingers go too fast, but you have not been able to spell watch correctly yet. And I'm spelling Nazi. I watch AMC Movie Talk all the time, and when I watch it, it feels like John was holding back. He thinks he's very passionate for your hate for Spider-Man 2. You have 6 seconds to unleash.
Yes, you know what? I did hold back because on AMC Movie Talk, you got to remember it's AMC Movie Talk and AMC Movie Theaters. So we work for basically even though we're talking about movies, the chain that we work for is a movie theater company. So you know it's like, so you don't want to like say, hey, this movie sucks, you know, when there's like 4,000 theaters that are playing it, and that's just your one opinion. There's a bunch of other people who love The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. I'll just hang on. At least on AMC Movie Talk, I'm not going to talk about it. Like on my own, like on Twitter or Instagram, I was like, garbage. What a piece of trash. An uneven nightmare, Frankenstein together, unwatchable film. It reminded me of Batman and Robin. And I said, if this is Batman and Robin's cousin, it's called The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's an embarrassing film, and I feel really bad about, you know, kind of everyone involved in it, because it's an embarrassing film. And as years go by, more and more people who are probably involved in it are going to be like, yeah, it sucks. They're going to just admit it, like, because it's a horrible film. It's just it doesn't know what it wants to be. It can't figure out its own storyline. It's like this. And I felt like that while I was watching it, and none of it really makes sense. It's just it's made for almost the most simplistic mindset. So I hated it. So that's one of those things where I think I felt so strongly about it because I was one of those people who got suckered in by the trailers. I watched those trailers like, my God, this movie's going to be amazing. They figured out a way to get all the villains together because they're all born at Oscorp, and it just makes sense. And so I was kind of adding all this stuff up in my mind. And then I watched it, and I was like, Jamie Foxx is playing the Riddler. Now he's Mr. Freeze. And just, I mean, Dane DeHaan, like the Green Goblin, he's a 16-year-old kid, and even before he gets the weird drugs to turn him into the Green Goblin, he's taking dudes out at Ravencroft Industry. Like, when did he learn how to take out security guards? None of it made sense. It was just really stupid, and I hated it. And a lot of people always defend it like, well, Schnepp, you're right. The movie wasn't that good, but all those scenes with Peter Parker and Gwen, those were great. I was like, no, those were just adequate. They just seem great when matched together with the other shitty parts of the movie. If you just took all that other garbage out and just watched those scenes, it would be like, there's a couple that are actually in love and they're just kind of hanging out and passing the time. Like, oh, I'm not going to be with you, am I? No, we're breaking up. Did we really break up? Every scene is them kind of breaking up and not breaking up. It's just all garbage. Sorry. It's a really bad film.
I should just host an after show, which is called What We Really Think, and that's all it is.
Right.
Or it's called What Would Jon Schnepp Say?
Well, like I said, I was really disappointed with that film because I had such heavy expectations that it just crushed me. So.
I'm glad. There you go. The question has been answered in full flight. Razvan Boris has said, "Hey, Jon Schnepp, how do you keep motivated while writing? I find my brain jumping off the walls with ideas of anything but ideas about what I'm writing."
How I keep motivated when I'm sitting at my desk, I listen to music. That's always really a fun way to just, like you hear music. I listen to death metal, or I listen to rap, or I listen to like Devo. I listen to all kinds of music. So. That's how I keep motivated when I'm sitting at my desk. When I'm walking around or when I'm just doing stuff and I have an idea, I always type it into my phone. I just use, the messages thing on my phone. I'm just like, blunk, and I'll write down a couple of sentences of what I'm thinking about, and I can always refer to it later, and I find like trigger words for myself. Like, instead of remembering the entire paragraph, like these 3 words, and then I'm like, oh, the entire paragraph comes back, if you just read those 3 words. So.
Sweet. We got Tyler Myers saying Schnepp be killing it. Sandy Hooper reminding me that the clown can't hurt me, and also just thinks there's a little bit too much pink in my shirt. But we're all about pink, so I don't think there is such thing as too much pink.
We love pink bits.
We love pink bits. Pink don't stink. Johnny B45 says of the same sort of question. About interviewing Nicolas Cage. Bill Holt says, "Great show, guys. Schnepp is the man. Have a great night." Oh, he's signed out.
Thanks, Bill.
Movie Crunch. Hey, Schnepp, have you met Mark Hamill? He does voices on Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
Metalocalypse.
Yeah. You win a no prize for one of the silliest questions. Yes, I've met Mark Hamill. I've been working with him for 8 years. Like, because he's done voices on every single episode of Metalocalypse. So when I first started working on Metalocalypse in 2005, he came in, and that was like one of those things where I was actually tongue-tied when I first met him, because obviously growing up with Star Wars, there I am, I'm talking to Luke Skywalker, and it's not a real person yet. You're just like, everything he was saying became white noise, and I was like, I can't believe it. Yeah. He was talking about like, well, then I was a voiceover in Blues Brothers 2000, the series, and then it just turned into, I'm talking to Luke Skywalker. I couldn't think, and I was like, don't say anything about Star Wars, he'll hit me, And so the second time I met him, I kind of was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Hey, man, I just want to say, love your Joker, like that horrible, like,
nice.
Not going to talk about Star Wars, but check this out. Totally know you're the Joker. And he's like, thanks. And I was like, ugh. And then the third and fourth time, he actually started talking about Star Wars, and he would like, well, you know, George had me come up to the ranch, and we were all like with bated breath, like, tell us another story, Luke. And then by year 3, we were pals, and like I said, I smoked, and sometimes once in a while he would have a cigarette with me, and then he stopped smoking too. But anyway, we became pals. In fact, I saw Man of Steel with him and his son. So there you go.
Yay.
Oh, wow. I just love the fact that he was the reason why you were tongue-tied and not the word metalocalypse.
Metal octopus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Metal
Thank you.
octopus. Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Octopus. Rob Piers has a shout-out for my Final Fantasy poster and my Triforce tattoo. So
Yeah, Rob Pierce knows what he's talking about.
I'm glad you noticed the love of my life on my Triforce.
None for my 50-foot woman poster. Come on, people.
I know. That's totally
What's
awesome.
going on? That's awesome.
That should get you laid, babe. I'm telling you.
It should, but it does
The
not.
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman is definitely a boner right there.
That's right.
Got at least 25 dudes watching that have boners right now.
Right?
I know I do.
That would be like that's like the Crypt Keeper as well. It's like, you know, what are you doing in Alicia's room? And Rathman, Shane, Sandy, a bunch of other people have
Crypt Keeper.
they've all sent in their PWRs, their powers. We've got Razvan, Battlefield 4, watching Chuck for the drama effect, not the end, and not reading much except programming manuals. We've got Sandy who says playing Far Cry 3, watching Malone's Movie Minute, yahoo, and reading ethical practice for health professionals. Shane wants to play me in Star Wars. I'm not great yet.
Oh my god.
Oh, we've got the Crypt Keeper.
I have the
Why, hello, lovelies. It's so glad that you mentioned Tales from the Crypt, because I love Tales from the Crypt. Where did that fucking asshole Schnepp go? Maybe I'll find him over here.
Oh, thank God.
We can see you.
Just
That
a quick
guy's
question.
scary.
For your consideration, was that a Twilight Zone throwback? At all?
Oh, you mean the title of the AMC
Yeah.
series? I don't think so.
Okay. Never mind.
You'd have to ask Campia that. That was before my time.
Mm.
Wow, I would never find you saying that because every time I open my mouth, you're like, come on, Maude. Really? Well, you were doing that. I was back doing da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And Movie Crunch wants me to give a shout-out to Jedi Alliance. There is a fan page happening on Instagram. Just search Jedi Alliance. That is my Star Wars show that I do with Cam Netsock. There you go, buddy. I do it. And I did it. So, Schnepp, as we say goodbye, one more time, hit us with all the links. If we've got money and we want to throw it at you, do we put it down in your pants or...
Yeah. But before you put it down my pants, go to supportsupermanlives.com right now and become a recreationist. You can do it. You can become a recreationist. You can get your name in the credits. Yeah, just throw that. Throw that green on over here. Help me make some cool scenes from the documentary. You could follow The Death of Superman Lives. What happened at TDOSLWH on Twitter and Instagram. Once again, at TDOSLWH. You can follow me. Yeah, it just certainly is an anagram of Blamo. And you can. Metacrombulus. You can watch that show. It's the first season of Megacopolis is on Netflix. And you can also Megacromboplis. Geek Bomb. There you go. Order that T-shirt. And yeah, so you can, like I said, you can still donate. SupportSupermanLives.com. That's at the fanback.com website. It's a brand new crowdsourcing platform. Check it out. Throw some money over there. Help me out. The movie should be coming out next year, sometime in March, April, or May. One of those months, it'll be dropping down. And I've got a lot of other stuff I'll be working on, and I'll be seeing you guys on AMC Movie Talk with all these lovely ladies. So it's been a lot of fun geeking out with you guys.
Yay! Thank you so much for all of that. This video, if you are just tuning in and you're like, oh, but I've missed so much, it will be available on this YouTube page almost immediately after I press the stop broadcast button.
Lord, I missed it so much. How do I get to
Well, there'll be some pizza.
I need a couple of croissants. You know what I'm saying? Hey, where's my little croissants, huh? Hey, you roll that up. I have a couple of croissants over here, eh? Right.
That's a meatballer. Are you kidding me? I'm going to point to you on the map where we're talking from. Okay, yeah.
A little cheap croissant over here. I got a couple of blintzos over here. You know what I'm saying? Oh.
Shit, this got weird, guys.
No. You have actually just seen a tiny little section of when John and I get in the same room. That is a minuscule window of what actually happens. We just go on a tangent, and no one's there to stop us.
That's
so
right.
Going.
Unstoppable tangents.
What's the hand's coming for me because it's unstoppable?
I think it became an unstoppable tangent several weeks ago.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Oh, god damn.
Rosman says something about I knew Maude wanted to be a pimp.
Wanted to be.
What? Why'd it get so quiet? It's scary when it's quiet.
It's scary.
Rob says, nice meeting both of you. I've got to tune in more. I'm thoroughly entertained. That's what we are doing. Fantastic. This has been Geeks Unleashed. We have a new guest every single week. If you haven't liked this video, like it. If you want to subscribe, you should subscribe because we do this all the time. Thank you so much, Jon Schnepp, for coming on board for Geeks Unleashed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you guys and gals and everybody on the interwebs.
Yeah, you're the only guy, buddy, okay?
Hey! Yo!
Pink fit.
So this has been Geek Bomb, and the bomb
Has
Has
been
dropped.
dropped.